welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new around here. I have recently majorly scaled back on exercise, even more so than I did a month ago when I told you guys I was cutting out a lot of my exercise. We took a few steps even farther back to the point where most of my exercise is just going on long walks for right now. And I'm gonna go into detail into why I'm making this change and what my exercise is kind of gonna look like moving forward for the next little bit of undefined amount of time. So make sure you're subscribed if you want all that good info. But going through this process the last week or two transitioning into even less exercise, I've started to think about how I'm going to make sure I don't put on a ton of fat, because it would be really easy to go from doing a normal exercise routine, cutting it out, and then your weight just skyrockets. So today I just kind of wanted to talk through my approach to this situation of making sure I don't gain weight with little to no exercise, and also some of my tips and tricks and pieces of advice for any of you who might not be able to exercise for whatever reason but still want to lose weight, change your physique, etc. So if you're excited to learn about how to potentially lose weight without exercising, give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for future videos, and without further ado, let's get into it. The first point that I want to make, though, and make very, very clear, is that if you are capable of exercising, you should be exercising. And this is regardless of your goals. You should be exercising if you want to lose fat, gain fat, lose muscle, build muscle, etc. Exercise keeps you healthy, and health is going to help you achieve your desired outcome for your physique. You should not look at exercise purely as a means to achieve the body that you want. Exercise is so much more than that. It will help you be able to play with your kids, to be able to play with your grandkids, to be an independent adult when you're in your 80s and you don't need to rely on other people to do things for you. It promotes good mental health and mental clarity. It'll help you be more productive. If you can exercise, you should be making an effort to do whatever exercise it is that you are able to do. That being said, there is a population for whom exercise is not the best idea. If you have an injury, probably have to take some time off of the gym. A lot of people with chronic illnesses struggle to exercise because it actually ends up slowing the healing process, because exercise is a stressor on the body. It is a good stressor on the body if you're healthy, but if your health is lacking in some way, it can add extra stress that actually exacerbates the issue. So that's kind of my case. I'm trying to fix my health right now. My health is not ideal, and so I'm cutting out exercise to help my body heal and just take any extra stressors away that my body just doesn't need to deal with right now, so it can focus all of its energy on healing. And not exercising may even be appropriate if you're just starting out your fitness journey. If you've gone your whole life, not really paying attention to what you're eating, not paying attention to exercise, just not really in the health mindset, and you're trying to slowly transition to a healthier lifestyle, maybe you want to start with focusing on sleep and then managing your stress and then your nutrition and then adding exercise. I think that would be a totally fine progression. You do not have to start a health and fitness journey with exercise. At this point, you might be thinking, Marissa, okay, I get it. You want me to exercise, but I don't really want to exercise, but I still want to lose weight. I don't really have a reason not to exercise. I just don't like it. But I have 20 pounds that I want to lose. Just get to the point. What do I need to do? Let me just give you just one more reason why you might want to consider adding some form of exercise into your weight loss or fat loss journey. And this reason is that without exercise, it's actually a lot harder to reduce your body fat percentage, because if you're not exercising, your weight that you're losing comes from both fat and muscle. If you exercise, you're a lot less likely to lose the muscle mass, and you're more likely to lose your weight from fat. So that would actually decrease your body fat percentage, make you look leaner. Whereas without exercise, if you're just losing total mass, muscle mass, and fat mass, then your body fat percentage could just stay the same, and even if you end up losing a ton of weight, you'll still end up with the skinny fat look. If you want to look skinny fat, that's totally fine. Go ahead and be my guest. Most people are not going for that. So my suggestion is to maintain exercise while trying to lose fat. And this is something that I am personally really struggling with right now. If you guys have been following me for a while, you'll know that for the last 3.5 years, my main form of exercise has been lifting. So I have built a significant amount of muscle mass and I love it. I feel strong, I feel powerful, it defines my body, it shapes my body, it adds curves to my body, and I'm really happy with the physique that I've built. And not only do I have like a good solid muscle base, it also keeps my metabolism up, which allows me to eat a lot more, which is very nice because I like food. But now that I'm cutting out basically all forms of lifting and almost all forms of exercise, I am going to be losing muscle mass, which means my metabolism is also going to be slowing down because muscle burns a lot more calories than fat, because if you don't use it, you'll lose it. And so if I'm eating at my maintenance calories, which I'm pretty sure I am because I'm eating intuitively, my muscle mass will be slowly decreasing, which also means my metabolism is going to be slowly decreasing, which means my maintenance calories are going to be slowly decreasing. So I'm gonna have to eat steadily less and less and less in order to maintain my body fat percentage, essentially. If I were to slowly lose muscle but keep my calorie intake the same, basically the weight of that muscle would be replaced with fat, and so I would steadily be increasing my body fat percentage while losing muscle mass, which is not ideal. So even though I'm not personally trying to lose weight right now, I will probably be losing weight in this process inevitably because of muscle loss. So hopefully this kind of explains how losing weight without exercise is kind of a catch-22, because it's really difficult to not increase your body fat percentage as you lose weight without exercise. But that being said, I do have some tips and tricks for you guys to help you maintain as healthy of a body fat percentage as possible while you lose weight without exercising. And the most important thing to remember is something that I preach about all the time. There are 4 main pillars of health: exercise, nutrition, sleep, and stress. If you're getting rid of a pillar, that places extra stress and extra importance on the other 3. So nutrition, sleep, and stress become a lot more important in helping you build the physique that you want to when you get rid of exercise. So working backwards through these, stress, if you aren't like really on point with managing your stress, since you're already not exercising, if your stress is out of control, if your cortisol is way too high all the time, it's gonna make you a lot more likely to store extra body fat. Same with sleep. If your sleep is out of whack, if you're getting like 4 hours of sleep per night, even if you were exercising, that would have a lot of negative side effects on your physique. But without exercise, that's just gonna compound and make it even harder to lose fat. So with those 2, I highly recommend putting whatever steps in place that you need to keep your stress and sleep under control. I do have a few videos dedicated entirely to sleep and entirely to stress, so I will link those down below if you realize that your sleep and your stress could maybe use a little bit of work. Even if you are exercising, they're still very important, so I recommend doing what you can to optimize them. And then when it comes to your nutrition, we'll talk about calorie deficit in a second, but what your food is composed of is also going to matter a lot more. There's basically a lot less wiggle room and you can get away with a lot less nutritionally when you're not exercising. So you're gonna wanna make sure you're focusing on whole, unprocessed foods. Also, definitely cut out any foods that you're intolerant to. I'm sorry if you're intolerant to like dairy and love cheese. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. Cut the cheese. And then as far as macros go, there are a few general guidelines that may be useful to follow. However, each person's body is different. You might need something entirely different, so I definitely recommend playing around with your macros. Again, I have a video all about how to determine the best macro ratio for your body, so I will link that down below. I think that would be very useful to go through the tool that I outlined in that video to find the macros that work best for you. But as a starting point, if you're not exercising, especially if you're not lifting heavy, you don't need as much protein to be healthy. You should still have a decent amount of protein to maintain whatever muscle mass you do have, but you definitely don't need to have 1 gram per pound of body weight. A good starting point might actually be about 0.5 to 0.65 grams per pound of body weight. Because you're not lifting, you're not tearing down the muscle, you don't need as much protein to repair that muscle. Additionally, when you're not exercising, carbs are gonna be a lot less useful and critical. If you feel really good not exercising and eating a ton of carbs, by all means, feel free to do that. But for most people, prioritizing carbs in your diet without exercise is kind of pointless because carbs are great as a fuel source. They're great for energy, for using the energy in a workout, but if you're not really moving your body much, then there's not much for them to do. Carbs are not an essential macronutrient, so you could theoretically cut them all out, but like you definitely don't need to do that. But you might benefit from just leaning a little bit more heavily towards fats than carbs. Fats are a really good sustained energy source. They're not as good for like giving you quick fuel for a workout, but they're really good for sustaining your energy throughout the day, keeping you full and satiated, also balancing hormones. Fats are really, really good for you. And so if you don't need as many carbs, prioritizing fat may help you with your body composition as well as just feeling better overall. But again, that's just a suggestion for a starting point, is like moderate protein, higher fat, slightly lower-ish carb. I'm not talking like low carb, like 20 grams a day. I'm talking just like lower than your average macro calculator might give you. And then from there, you can play around with my macro perfector tool to figure out what actually works best for you. But macros and food quality aside, the most important thing when it comes to nutrition and weight loss, regardless of whether or not you're exercising, is a calorie deficit. To lose fat, you have to be in a calorie deficit. Now, whether or not you want to do this while tracking macros or eating intuitively is entirely up to you. Just know that you have to be eating less than you're burning. One quick disclaimer though is that since a lot of people who are not exercising are doing so because of some sort of chronic illness, being in a calorie deficit is not necessarily the best way to achieve your end goal. Getting healthy first and prioritizing health is ultimately going to help you end up losing fat, but it could take a couple months of, focusing on healing, focusing on getting the right foods and eating enough for your body to start healing, and then you can start focusing on fat loss. If you're dealing with some sort of chronic illness, I definitely do not recommend starting out your healing journey by drastically cutting calories. That's not a good plan. And that's precisely why I am eating at maintenance calories right now, to give my body enough to heal itself. But losing weight without exercise is 100% doable, because it really does just come down to energy balance. It comes down to being in a calorie deficit. Is it an ideal way to lose weight? No, but for a lot of people, it may be the only way to lose weight and the only way to get to a healthy weight. And I guess my biggest recommendation going through this process is to just focus on your health and put your health first, because if you don't do that, then you're very likely to just fall down some sort of rabbit hole, whether it's yo-yo dieting or making your health even worse to the point where it's just a struggle to get your health back. It's not a good idea to just crash diet, not exercise, not care about sleep and stress. That's gonna get you to a point where you don't wanna be, and is gonna be really, really hard to recover from. I get messages from people, unfortunately, somewhat frequently, saying that they injured themselves in some way, shape, or form, have to take some time off from the gym, and now they're scared that they're going to gain weight. I'm here to tell you that you will not necessarily just pack on a ton of pounds because you've been immobilized for a certain amount of time. The one thing that you do need to be a little bit concerned about is losing your muscle mass, but you aren't necessarily going to put on a ton of weight unless you continue to eat the same way you were when you were exercising regularly. As long as you adjust your calories down to match your activity level and give your body what it needs to sustain itself, but not more than it needs to sustain itself, you're gonna be basically fine. And if you're only out of the gym for like a couple weeks to just a few months, I also really wouldn't worry too much about losing that muscle, because it's a lot easier to gain it back once you've already had it. And I think something that can be really, really useful to do, regardless of whether you're injured, have a chronic illness, whatever reason you can't exercise, is to redefine what exercise means. Exercise does not have to be going on the gym and getting on a treadmill. It doesn't have to be going to the gym and lifting weights. Exercise can just mean a walk on the beach, a hike through the forest. It can mean really easy, light mobility work, which is basically what I'm going to be working on. It can be light yoga. I went and did I think it's yin yoga, which is where you literally just sit in one pose for like 3 to 5 minutes, just letting your body relax into that pose. And that can be really, really good just for getting your body into a parasympathetic state, getting it moving, but not in a way that's really going to stress your body at all. It can really help improve mobility. It can give you a lot of the benefits of exercise without really having any of the potential drawbacks of exercise if you're injured, have chronic illness, etc. So my advice in that regard is to do what you can. Do what you're capable of. Don't push your body to exercise in ways that is going to be harmful for it, but if there's something you can do, try to do that as frequently as your body is capable. Movement is critical for health and recovery, so in whatever capacity you can move, try to move. I hope this video was helpful for you all. It's just something I've been thinking about a lot these last few weeks, so I wanted to get it all out there and share my thoughts with you. So let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. If you have had success losing weight without exercise, if you have any tips to share with everyone, definitely share them down in the comments so we can all learn from each other. If you have any questions, also let me know and I will do my best to get back to you. In the meantime, if you like this video, please do share it with your friends, your family, your neighbors, your non-exercise buddies. Hit that thumbs up button because it really does support my channel and I really genuinely appreciate it. If you want to see more videos from me, you can check those out over here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and a little notification bell to see future videos from me, and I will see you very soon. Bye!